Good evening, everybody. This is Lethal Sales. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Tonight we want to know what's worse, the dentist, the gynecologist, or the car dealer showroom. I know. I'll take where people don't want to go for 200. Alex, go ahead, Larry.
Well, first of all, right before you announced the beginning of the show, Rhonda, and thank you so kindly, my good and great friend Russell Hill asked for a prayer. So, since you are a God-fearing man, I will refer to my late and beloved father, who used to love to say, "God bless those that wish me well, and all the rest can go to hell." So it's amazing they didn't make my father a rabbi, but his common sense rings through to this day. Um, so let me address this topic as seriously as I can. As far as the dentist office or the gynecological office, or a showroom. And I know I'm always kidding, but I mean this from the heart. Everything is based between your ears. Okay. If you want an erogenous zone, you got one. If you want a thoughtful zone, a religious, whatever it is. And I strictly think we make our own environment good, bad, or indifferent.
That's right.
I hired a young lady named Jen Alio. Rhonda knows her. Some of you may have heard of her, who's been in the car business forever, and she's awesome. And I hired my friend Pam, who I sold a car to and has been a friend ever since, to answer the phone and to handle my emails, because we're now, Russell, it's getting out of control. I mean, thank God I'm so busy. I'm grateful every day. But they both said to me, "Larry, we love you. We love working with you. How the heck did you do this all these years by yourself?" And the answer is because I love doing it. I love picking up the phone. I loved answering the emails. I love the feeling of I'm making things work. And I think the key to everything in life is how you approach it and what kind of attitude or gratitude you have. I'm explaining, Russell, to the people in class today, fabulous class, my secret for success. Guy said, "Mr. Feldman, I Googled you. Looks like you sold a lot of properties. Looks like you're rich. How'd you get rich?" I said, "I didn't want to be bored." He said, "I don't get it." I said, "No, I didn't get how all these people could work alongside me and stare out the window all day. I do not, I understand completely Thoreau's concept of most men lead lives of quiet desperation. I don't want to go to work dreading the ride and dreading being there all day. So
Right
I
on.
think if we look at things and say, I'm going to make the most of it and the best of it and have fun, we can make anything work. Okay. Because obviously there's a lot of gynecologists, there's a lot of dentists. I play tennis with my former dentist. He just retired. And it depends. There are guys in this business that love this business. We got a whole bunch of men and women on this program. Okay. I love meeting people. I love interacting. So to be honest with you, Rhonda, I think it depends. If you can't believe that you aren't smart enough to be a heart surgeon and you're putting picks in people's teeth, I guess it's no good. And if for any reason you don't think a gynecologist is romantic enough, then I guess you're in trouble. But I like going to work. I like meeting friends. I like making money. I like getting people jobs. So I honestly think it's your environment, right? What Russell understands the philosophies: one man's heaven is another man's hell. So I think rather than do a blank, it's this, this, or this, I think it rests individually on the people. We've been super lucky to gather people on this show, and every damn one of you are great people. I mean, it's fun to hang with Tony. Russell and we're going to shake hands officially at NADA.
No, we're going to hug at NADA.
Okay. We never really met in face to face, but I can't think of two guys getting any closer in the past year than we have. We have off-air conference, on air. If there's anybody that does not like Wendy Reeves and Fred Thorne, I ain't interested in you. And by the way, if you've wondered, even though I still think I'm the funniest, craziest guy in the car business, why you don't see my face first thing in the morning on these programs is when a Citirano, who I like, bumped off Peter, I'm done. Because my number one priority in life is loyalty, followed closely by sincerity and consideration. And it's real simple. If you can't get along with Peter or Russell or Paul or Wendy or Nathan or Brian Motes, I ain't interested in you. So at least crazy as I am, I have your back. So I think the situation is more focused on how you filter it through your perception. Okay, Russell, I'm going to send you a track. I already sent it to Brobson. I wrote a song which you're going to love. It's called My Perception. Your perception ain't my reality.
All right.
So my reality is really shaped by this. I'll be dead one day. And while I'm alive, I want to have as much fun, make as much money, make as many friends, okay, play as much music, have as much sex. I'm allowed to say sex, Russell. It's evening now. And that's it. And if anybody defers with that, then you ain't paying attention. What is that? What are you holding up?
Jar.
Rhonda fell off.
I said sex. If sex cannot be a dirty word.
It is not a dirty word at all.
He
It's
mentioned
the
dirty.
person that interprets what that means to them.
Correct.
Get him,
and let me
Rhonda.
just
Get him.
Yeah.
hold on. Let me get into church and then I'll jump off my pulpit. Okay. I happen to be every bit as religious as Tony and Russell. I just have a broader interpretation. Like Russell will understand this. The Bible says, and Tony will back me up, every man shall take a wife. But it doesn't really state whose. That's all. That was my final point there, Tony.
Okay, we can tell that Larry was training today. Thank you very much,
Yes,
Larry.
I'm feeling
Now-
it, baby.
Now, can we answer the question? How do we make going to the car dealership more pleasant for people who go there?
You go there with the right attitude because every one of you goes home to somebody. Wendy and Fred go home to each other. And as good as natured as Russell is, every once in a while, the people he's dealing with are jerks. Everything's wrong. And he goes home and Mrs. Hill says, "What's wrong?" And Russell says, "Nothing." How does she know there's something wrong? Is there a neon sign over his head, Russell? No, it's all
She
over
knows.
your face.
Yeah.
So how do you make it more fun to go to a dealership? You come in ready to rock with a smile and greet people properly and let them know how happy you are to see them. How can you argue with that, folks?
You can't.
All right, show's over. Let's get some
Okay.
pizza.
Good night, everybody.
All right, I interrupted Mike Larkin earlier, and you know one thing I never do, Russell, is interrupt people. You believe that? I'm really a hell of a salesman. Mike, what were you going to say, my buddy?
Hey, just you're dead on. The attitude is the thing. And there's a number of things we can control. We control how we think. We control what we say, what we do. Okay, and then what was the other one?
No, I'm going to help you, Michael.
There's four of them.
Two things. There's two things. Forget about your four things. We're condensing down. There's two things you have control over: your time and your attitude. Only you can decide this is important, this is less important, this is high priority, and your attitude. Because if you go into things with Russell, you ain't going to believe that. Robson will back me up because he's seen me in action. I taught for 3 hours and 5 minutes today without a break. And every damn person looked at their watch or their iPhone and went, "I can't believe it was 3 hours." Now, I didn't teach them one thing, Tony, that they didn't already know, but it was funny and it was engaging. So once again, when you filter it through a positive attitude, it's fun. When you make people feel welcome to my home, welcome to my environment, it's great, right? What? Listen, Russell, and then I'll shut up, which is hard for me to do. Why do people come to this show? Because everybody gets a chance to talk. If you get on your soapbox, I cut you the hell off. Because I want
When
everybody
do we get
to
the
feel like
chance
they're a
to
part of
talk?
something. What's that?
Yeah.
Well, no. It's Rhonda's new format. I go on for 57 minutes. Wendy talks, and then we cut the show. I'm sorry. It was Rhonda's idea, not mine. Go ahead, Rhonda. I'll be quiet now. But hurry up before I get
I'm
another
done.
thought.
You know, I'd like to hear from Peter now.
Go ahead, Peter.
So, first of all, excited about NADA coming up and all the opportunities that we're going to have at the show, about how many times we're going to be broadcasting from there. So it's going to be a great event. But the topic today is customer-centric showrooms. And basically that, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it involves two things: people and landscape. Most important thing is the people, because the landscape doesn't mean anything. It's just geography at that point. But if you have the right people in there with the right attitude, as Larry just so eloquently said, it's all about the attitude, the mindset, the drive, the determination, the willingness to help people. And that's what's going to give us the absolute best experience and customer centricity. The second part is the landscape. don't make it to the point where people feel that they have to go around an obstacle to get in. Don't have your people standing outside your front door trying to tackle the next person coming on the lot. Don't make it just, the smoking. Yeah, the smoke breakers. When we were in Dallas last year, I went to Gas Monkey Garage, Richard Rawlings' garage, and he absolutely will not allow anybody to smoke on his property. He hates it. And when he goes into a dealership to actually have them, to advise them, he takes an old spare wheel, takes it out to the very back corner of the lot, and spray paints around it and said, "There's your smoking room. If you can stand in there, you can have a cigarette. No two people can stand in the circle. So there is no, we have to understand what it's all about. We really have to focus on what is the first impression that the customer is going to see when they walk in. Is everyone on the park bench out front with their heads down into their phones? I don't care if you're texting customers. If you're going to do that, do it in a Boltzmann. You don't need to block the customers coming in, because if someone drives by, especially me, I'm going to keep going. As Kelly so eloquently put over the last few calls we've shared, start looking at things from the customer's vision. You put on their glasses, put on their goggles, start looking at that. Also, start looking at it as the employee and what the employee gets to see and what the employee engages in, because they're just as important, because you want their engagement. Without it, you're losing 55% performance. The last part is the stakeholder. The stakeholder rarely sees what actually is happening. They look down with their rose-colored glasses and they see the person behind the desk not doing what they want them to do, even though it might be in the wrong direction that they're forcing them to go. So let's look at it, and let's look at the first two properly. Customers, employees, look at people over landscape. I'm going to yield from there.
Hey, let's get Tony in, because he goes to a prayer seminar at the second half of this show, and I appreciate him being here and I love his input. Tony?
It's not a prayer seminar. It's a group of people reading the Bible and talking about the God that we love. So, but thank you, Larry.
Well, wait a minute. If you're going to jump into that,
Larry,
let's
it's
not forget-
fellowshipping. It's fellowshipping.
Close enough. Ecclesiastes. Whatever thy hand shall find, do it with all thy might. Russell likes it when I throw in a biblical quote. Go ahead, Tony.
I invite you to come and join us, Larry. I think you get a kick out of it. So, when it comes to the customer-centric and making it a welcome place, guys, let's just be people with people, right? How about a warm, sincere welcome? Just like you'd welcome people into your home. Offer them hospitality from the moment they walk in. It's not, "Oh, you're here to see Bob, I'll go get him." How about before you go get Bob, you offer him a cup of coffee, you offer him a bottle of water, and then you go and get Bob. But I just think so often people walk in the door and we ignore them because one person said hi to them. One of the things that I coach anybody, we're all familiar with the 10-foot rule, right? Get within 10 feet, you acknowledge the customer. Well, I do more than that. I don't ask them if they've been, are you here to see somebody? Are you getting taken care of? I just open body. Have you been taken care of? I don't care if I saw somebody with them 5 minutes ago. I'm going to offer courtesy. Have you been taken care of? Oh, yeah, I'm waiting for Bob. Okay, great. Could I get you a cup of coffee, bottle of water while you wait for Bob? Oh, no, I'll wait for Bob. No problem. Let us know if you change your mind. We're happy to get you that. And then just move on. But so often I see customers standing on the showroom floor waiting for somebody, and everybody acts like they don't even exist because one person said hi to them. And I think that we need to acknowledge them whenever we get in contact with them and offer them that hospitality. And I'll leave you with this. And you were talking, Larry, earlier about work and such. We've all heard, if you love the work you do, you'll never work a day in your life. My quote for the year, and maybe I stole it or maybe I made it up, probably both. But my quote of the year is, work is you living your life. Enjoy it. And if you take the time to think about that, there's 1,000 ways to come at that, but When you go to work, that's your life. You're not putting your life on hold for 10 hours. You're living that day. And so let's enjoy that. And so when I say work is you living your life, what I'm saying is enjoy your life. And that's the work you do.
Hey, you know what, Tony? You're so right. And I just thought of something to answer Rhonda's initial question, the query of how do we make things better? You know what I really think we need? And I'm not being facetious. We need more managers on these calls because I think they set a tone in a gauntlet you have to walk through. And I think that puts a bad messages out to salespeople. I'm a vendor. Okay. I was a dealer. Now I'm a vendor. And everybody on this program, I believe, is a vendor. And we've all gone in with a big smile and our great personalities. And it's like, you feel like you're trying to get in to see the president. Well, what's it about? And let me check if he's, and are we all tired of hearing he's in a meeting? Man, I answer my damn phone. I can't wait to talk to people. I can't wait to reach out to people. A, it's fun. B, it brings you more business. Tony, I tell this story all the time. I told it to my class today. I'm at the dealership, which I wound up being a partner at for 3 weeks. And the GM is leaving. And the operator says, boss, you have a call. And he says, tell him I left. And I thought, what a moron. Because if it's somebody that wants to buy 2 cars, they'll say, to hell with this guy, I'll go buy him somewhere else. If it's somebody with a small problem, by the time it gestates overnight, now it's a huge problem and he's furious. So it's a matter of how approachable you are and how easy you are. But if they see them making run the gauntlet, then they're going to run the damn gauntlet, right? We tend to, we don't listen. You should never be mean to your parents because in the end, you turn into your parents. So if the manager is this kind of person, he has a big effect on his salespeople, positive or negatively. So I agree with you completely. I was always successful only because I was fun. I mean, I have no other explanation. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. But people liked me when they came in, they had fun and they could reach me and I turned my calls. What is difficult about that? And now with AI coming through every pore and all these other things, how invaluable is it to be reachable, to touch base? Brian Motes and I, Paul asked me about Nashville. I think that's where I met you, Brian, right? At Five Guys?
No, well, that was in Charlotte, but it was,
Same difference. I'm Jewish. I have trouble with maps and stuff like that.
but yeah, Five
I
Guys
was
in
somewhere.
Charlotte.
I wasn't home. Okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is,
Yeah,
like,
weren't you one of those guys wandering around in the desert for like 40 years or something?
40 years. Okay.
Yeah.
We tried to stop at a couple motels. My wife didn't like the air conditioning. I didn't like that it didn't have cable. Jews are very picky. That's why to this day, we don't camp. Okay.
Okay, so before we move on here,
Go ahead. Try to keep a straight face, Peter. Try it.
yeah, I've tried. So I agree 100% with Tony. It's about the hospitality, and I'm going to segue into Brian for this one because we've talked about it many times. And I just want to lead in with one statement that was made to me at Sewell Cadillac when I was in Dallas by the gentleman who greeted me at the door. Said, welcome to Sewell Cadillac. It would be my pleasure to direct you to the department you seek. Disarming as all belief. I couldn't say anything but the truth to him. I couldn't say I was just looking. I was walking around. I was doing this. Hey, he knew exactly what I was going to do in 2 seconds. It's all about the approach and how you say it and disarming the situation and providing that information. Now I'm going to lead into Brian because this is his specialty on hospitality.
Thanks, Peter. I was very blessed to work for 7 years in consumer experience and really, instituting all the, processes and framework and change management that go into consumer experience for Lincoln Motor Company. And then we're also working with Ford as well. And a lot of this, it's not hard, but it is at the same time. It's a simple concept, but it's not hard. But it's hard to do. But there's a couple of things that I would share. One, there's about a 3-minute video out there of Danny Meyer. If you don't know who Danny Meyer is the founder of Union Square Hospitality Group, and owner of Shake Shack. He wrote a book a few years ago about setting the table, and he really talks heavily about how they hire people. And it's about a 3-minute video he did for Lexus. And it's about all you need to know from a mindset perspective about what it takes to create a hospitality culture. not what it at least from a mindset. Now there's a lot of work that goes into that. It's about hiring people, it's about all the training you do, it's about all the systems and processes. You start looking at things like, you know, Horst Schulze from the Ritz-Carlton and the new gold standard and all the things that they do at the Ritz to make sure that they're instituting and employing a hospitality mindset. But it also goes a little bit further, in my opinion, in the last 10 years when it comes to automotive. And these numbers are a little bit old, but even like 5 years ago, 92% of consumers began their journey online digitally. And I will tell you that I know for a fact that it's about flip-flop at only about 8%. And that's even being very generous. It's actually probably about 2% of dealers that actually provide a digital experience inside their showroom. It's all analog. And I would say probably 2% at max actually provide a digital experience. And so that's where a lot of the friction points come from a consumer about why they don't like the process is they're doing everything digitally, everything transparently. They're seeing a price online, they're seeing payments, they're being able to see the vehicle, and they come in the dealership and all the work that they did online, it's all forgotten. And we start with a PDF Foursquare or whatever printed out of e-leads, and we start penciling things with a Sharpie. And I watched a $125,000 vehicle being sold to a $300,000 a year earner on a PDF with green Sharpie. And it just blew my mind that that's what they still did, but that's what they know how to do. So when you talk about hospitality mindset and digital, but where this really comes into play, you can talk about all this you want. This is a massive change management initiative. And you have to understand that change management is hard, and you have to actually hire people that understand change management and how to actually accomplish it, going from what you're doing now to what you want to be doing, and all the steps in the middle you have to do to be able to deploy a change management, effort. And
Brian, I always like with change, I always like to quote my hero, Ben Franklin, who said, when you're finished changing, you're finished. And after Russell makes a comment, maybe we could hear from Nathan or Joshua.
Yeah. Oh, Nathan, haven't heard from me. Brian, I just want to say that even the digital experience online, most dealers don't get it yet, but they're getting a lot better. So whatever that experience is, let's say it's a 10. Anything beyond that and after that drops to a 2 instantly. With what they're encountering, the people they're talking to, what they see, how they're presented. So I agree. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing what you did.
Hey, Nathan, what do you have to say on this fine subject? And
Come on, bring it, Nathan.
He's just got to unmute.
Hey guys, sorry,
I've got it.
Yes, I'm also like trying to get the kids in the car right now, but what I totally agree with what everyone's saying. I mean, clearly we need a better perspective at the very least. I think there's so much that technology can do to help, but it's still, we can't get rid of the people element, and we really just want technology to better foster that people element, right? To help people do their job better than anything else. I think there's great products out there, that are helping with that whole customer experience more and more. Whether it's from a communication standpoint, with phone systems that are integrated with both the CRM and the DMS, so we know who people are. We have better, attribution to marketing. We have better accountability to, the actual employees, or whether you want to move over to, products like, Russell has a great product, I think, in the fixed op side. I think, pre-finance Zip Deal has a beautiful solution if everyone's, heard of that. And it's basically a pre-finance post-yes solution where it knocks out these 10 different pieces that dealerships are doing most of them right now, but it puts it in a tablet. You give it to them so they don't have a 3-hour finance wait. I think more and more products are going to keep coming available that will help dealers, but you guys are totally right that we need the right mentality, and we need
Nathan,
that,
they have to embrace it. I don't know
Yes.
any dealer on earth that doesn't have a CRM, and every one of them will tell you they want to strangle their salespeople because they never put the information in correctly or thoroughly with the CRM.
Well,
So
that's the benefit, but that's where technology comes in, right? Because now we can summarize those, we can automate that. When these pieces that historically have been a nightmare, and there's been no visibility or nothing's been entered. It's like, let's automate. Let's complete these for them. They just have the conversations. Or if we want to take it a step further, we could even, use agent assist tools and feed them the info they need to talk to the client. I mean, there's definitely, technology that can help them do better, but they've got to want it. like you said.
Hey, but Nathan, thank you so much. Before we jump to Joshua, let's hear from Paul Brobson, only because when I met Paul at NADA a year ago, he was talking about how easy it is to scan the QR code that he set up and make it easier for the dealer and the customer. So he was trying to bridge the gap on the lot and everywhere. Paul, just a quick word on how you're doing with that. I know you're expanding your business and you're partnering up with people. And then let's hear from my boy Joshua.
Thanks, Larry. Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me to speak. And nice to see everybody this evening. And any chance I get to hang with Larry is just, I mean, just it is. That's why it's just one of my favorite things to do, honestly. I'm of a mindset, again, of not being in the industry 35 years. I mean, even every person I meet in this industry has been in 35 years. Guy, 38 years old, started washing cars at his grandfather's store when he was 3 years old. Like, okay, I've been in it 7 years now, so I can't say I'm a green pea or a newbie or any of that stuff. But I've never actually worked in a store. So in some ways, I bring a perspective that's different, like not just the consumer, but to Brian's point, spent my, digital experience in creating customer journeys and what I like to say, not just making raving fans, but brand ambassadors. When you can bring people through an experience that they tell others about, not because it sucked, but because it was actually good, is a rarity in this day and age. And so I always preach, you should be, if you're doing digital engagement, you should be testing, constantly testing. I'm like an ABC, always be closing, ABT, always be testing. I don't think there's enough of that in the automotive space from my vantage point. But I do believe that one of the best things you can do from the consumer experience and why we decided to do so much with QR codes. It's not like any, revelation. They just had a rebirth because of like a lot of things, they got a tailwind during COVID because people didn't want to handle things. So you could look at a menu, you could do pretty much anything via QR code. So we just decided, why not make that part of the experience when the consumers walk in the lot? People still go and look at the cars, even after they do the 18 hours online, they want to go look at the cars. And we believe that if we could give them a transparent experience into the vehicle while they were standing next to the vehicle, there's a novel concept, and give them the ability to see the full inspection, the full video of how the vehicle was inspected, all of the certified details on the program at their fingertips while they're standing there. We thought that was, something that even a salesperson couldn't screw up if they just pointed the person to the car with their camera. It's like you're become an instant superhero because it gives them the transparency. And to your point of attitude, you can't wake up every day with a good attitude. So some of the automation should make it so that the salesperson can be at their best even when they're not at their best.
Yep. And let me say this to you before we jump to Joshua, if he's available. Has anybody met? Oh, there's Martha. Hi, Martha. It's so nice to see you. Has anybody dealt with Paul Brobson in person? He is the lowest key guy of all. He's the exact opposite of me. When you introduce me to somebody, they get 9 Larry Feldman stories, a couple jokes. I put my arm around him and say, so when are you hiring me? Brobson never pushes. He just says, here's what I have. He's always smiling. He's always low key. So even a guy that's wrapped around tech in a beautiful way, I believe still makes it work because he's friendly. If you're not friendly, everything else goes out the window. And in a world where nobody wants to communicate and nobody answers their phone, how golden is it to be friendly? Again, listen, I know Brobson's being a little funny, but he really likes hanging with me. I have
He
no
must
idea
be
why.
Irish.
I don't make. Hey, let me hear.
Okay. Hey, Larry, can I add one last insight just to the room, and then I'll shut up?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So the other insight is, think about this for a second. Which generation has the highest buying power? Anybody?
Old people.
The highest buying power generation, I would say, is millennials.
Eh,
No, it's boomers.
eh.
Wise?
You're going to be surprised.
Sure am.
Gen Zs.
days, I was thinking
Gen
about it.
Zs have the hot, we're right out of generation. So, I mean, the rest of them are all gone, I think.
Right.
But anyway, Gen Zs, now here's the thinking, right? The Gen Zs have done everything in their life online. So they don't have the experience of quote unquote doing things, especially buying a car offline. So you think, wow, they'd love to get online, buy a car. But think about this, the novelty of them actually doing something that big of a purchase offline. You're giving them a chance to come out into the world and do something offline. There's a novelty there. Don't
Yep.
don't unlook at that.
Hey, Paul, I just got a text from Martha and Brian Motes. They would like to know if you would do that buzzer noise again. Guys don't even need Netflix. How much more damn entertainment can you stand in one night?
Okay,
It's
so
crazy.
I'm gonna jump in for 1 second here, and I'm gonna put this out here because Paul put out the whole thing about what is the buying power and put the snap quiz. Well, here's the snap quiz. How many stakeholders, GMs and upwards, do you think have bought a car on their own website? How many have booked a service appointment on their own website? How many?
Either none, because they can't get into their website. Because these people turn their websites over to people who they pay too much money and they don't work. If every dealer got on his own website and shopped his own store, we'd have to the suicide prevention hotline would be overloaded with dealers because the perception of what they have and what they really have is different. By the way, I see our boy Darren's on. Darren, let's make sure we get an opinion from you, my buddy.
Yeah, I've got nothing to really reinvent the wheel, and it's funny as I go out and consult and meet with dealers. I'm training on that simple thing. It's like greet the customer. Like, are you kidding me? And I was a service manager 25 years ago, and I had a GM Goodwrench trainer come into my store, and walked up to one of my service advisors first thing in the morning, and she said, "Hey, how are you doing this morning?" And the service advisor says, "Oh, I'm doing fine." She said, "Why don't you tell your face?" And it was like the loudest ever. I'm like, you know what? I just learned something today. Shame on me as the manager. It's like the blinders were off from that moment. Like, that one instance of like, it set the tone. I tell the story and I go to a dealer. I'm like, "What's wrong with your team?" Like, it said, I'll not rude, but it's like, why don't you just tell your face you're happy? You're not happy. You say you're having a good time. Well, show me about it. Just tell me.
Darren, I'm going back
stuff.
to ancient history. When they used to have the original call rooms, they made them all have a little mirror in front so they could make sure they could see they were smiling when they were on the
Smile
phone.
while you talk. Yeah, it's the simple stuff, right?
Hey, you know who else we
Look
got
at
on the
this.
show? We're going to
Nice,
get to
Wendy.
everybody. We got Jeff Shearer. For anybody that doesn't know, Jeff Shearer, his programs, like Russell's, like so many others on this program, like Brobson, is so brilliant and so far ahead of the game, it's a little scary. Okay? Mr. Shearer, would you please speak up? And before you do, tell me how your son's doing. Is everything okay?
He's rocking and rolling, man, booking about 120 hours a week. So he's doing really, really good. I think a couple of things, what have dealers done to kind of reinvent the business after COVID? That threw a wrench in everything. And Larry, you tell me if training stopped during COVID, I would guess it did. And, all the dealers were forced into doing digital retailing. Well, we've been talking about this for years, but, now they're forced to do it and they're still not good at it. They still don't understand what it is because, again, nobody walks the walk of the customer, let alone the employees, but more often, nobody knows the website's busted and the forms aren't working. And they got so much crap on there that it takes 10 seconds to load a page. And I think that's the biggest thing. And, really to get back to the question of the hour, I have no idea what a gynecologist relationship is. I'll just say that up front. But, as a guy with a mouthful of dental work, I'm very critical about dentists, and they have all the money. You know that, and they only got to work 4 days a week. But I think it's just that. It's really, let's get back to experience. And I said this I think last week, but slow down. Everybody's in a rush to give information, to get off the phone, to give the information, and push. But I don't know if that's really what customers want.
Hey, Jeff, understand that we need to break our condition boundaries. We need to push past a little bit of what we're used to, or we'll never get anywhere, right? Hey, what's basic with weightlifting? You got to break the muscle down to build it up. If you work out just till you're tired and stop, you're never going to progress. It's impossible. Hey, we jumped by Joshua Taylor and my girl Martha.
Joshua's only
listen
listening
mode.
tonight. He's not participating.
Only listening tonight. Okay, Joshua, I understand completely. I have the same relationship with my wife. She talks and I listen every night. It's very sad. Martha, what do you got to say? And it's so nice to see you.
Nice seeing you all. So, okay, so I missed the first part of the show. So, can somebody tell me what is that the question?
I'll help you. I'll help you out. Okay. Russell Hill was analytical. Tony was religious, and I was insane. Did I capture that perfectly, Russell?
The last two, but analytical. I'm too ADHD type A for that.
That's
okay.
The sentiment of the call.
Martha, what we were saying is,
got it.
Rhonda's original comical summation or preface for the show was, would you rather go to the gynecologist, the dentist, or into a car showroom? And I rebutted that if your attitude's right, you can make it delightful. Because one thing for sure, they don't like us, the perception of us, and there's nothing stronger than when a negative is overcome by a positive. Nothing. So I see it as a huge, huge opportunity. So now you know the format, Martha. What do you have to say? And then we'll jump to Kelly Wilson, who's doing some weird things with a bird. Don't get too excited, Peter. This isn't weird Canadian kink.
Before anything, I will rather go into my dentist. And the reason is because the type of service, he's very friendly, and it's just a different type of experience. But if we take that to the showroom, right, that's what we actually want. And Sarah Valentine posted something this morning that how much more we're doing this shopping, online. But at the end of the day, I still feel that the customer wants to come and have the face-to-face.
Yes.
The customer wants to have that experience. They're going online not to buy a car. They're going online just to get some of those questions answered because they're tired of spending too much time. And time is something that we don't have. After the pandemic, I think the day goes faster, right? So, but how much disconnection there is from the online experience to the showroom experience. And then we want to play those games. So if we provide with the right type of attitude, service, and I think the customers are not going to go away from the showroom. They still want to talk to us, wanted to listen to us. I was given an example. I wanted to buy a cream the other day from Sephora. I put it on my cart, and then I go no, let me go to the store because I have some questions that this chat, that this bot is not able to answer. I went to the store and I left because of the treatment that I received, and then I went somewhere else to buy the same product. So it's not the online that is taking over, and it's not the competition. It's the attitude that we gave, the service that we provide when we're there trying to purchase something, the one that is preventing us from doing business with that specific institution. And that's where we have to because it has changed. Our expectations have.
If you're going to talk attitude, Martha, as soon as you're done, we got to hear from Wendy Reeves. Who the heck's got a better attitude than Wendy?
There.
You ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Ready.
I'm going to go with the human side of AI.
I knew it.
Just kidding. Just kidding. I had to be consistent. Consistency is king, right? Okay, so I believe that let's roll out the red carpet for them, guys. It starts with the initial inbound phone call or lead submission or whatever. Those of us answering the phones or responding to the leads, let's start it right off the bat, with a great experience, and then carry that over to the moment they shake hands with the person they're going to meet. Send them, schedule the appointment, obviously everything upon engagement, whatever, have them look forward to the journey. When they arrive, I've been saying this a lot more lately because it kills me that people aren't doing this. When a customer comes to a dealership, they're so apprehensive. It's like a kid walking into a new classroom when you just started at a new school and you're in the senior grade and everybody knows everybody else and you don't know anyone and you're apprehensive about the experience you're about to have. because there's so much out there about how evil we are in the automotive industry. So send them a virtual showroom visit, first of all, a video. It can be a template one. It can be something by the BDM or whomever. But then walk from the parking lot into where they're going to go in the door, walk them through the door. And if it's the sales manager they're going to ask for, and this is the person you're going to ask for, this is John. Say hello, John. And John says, hi, we look forward to your visit. See you soon. And then you tell them when you arrive at the dealership, someone's going to greet you on the lot. They're only doing their job. Please be sure and go inside so they can't broom them or not put them in the CRM. Be sure and go inside and ask for so-and-so and tell them you have an appointment. And then when the customers arrive at the dealership, let that greeting from the salesperson say, welcome to ABC Ford. Are you here for your VIP appointment? Are you checking in for your VIP appointment, or are you doing whatever that's consistent with what the BDC or appointment setter led up to? And then it's a comfort glide up to the person who's going to introduce them to a salesperson or a product specialist. And then you
Wendy,
can
today in my class, I always do this on day one before I send him out the mystery shop, saying they're looking for a car for their sister, just had a baby, where nobody ever says boy or a girl. I say, guys, do you know what it costs on average to bring a person into a dealership? Not to buy, it's about $450. Imagine how many cars people would sell if they acted like the money was coming out of their pocket, not the owner. Nobody'd ever get broomed. If it was, act like it's your money, act like it's your business with no debt service, and this gets really easy. Wendy, as usual, that was incredibly insightful. How about if we hear from Kelly Wilson? We haven't heard from her. Kel?
All right. I was trying to keep the bird chittering to a minimum. So
how you going to do that? Peter can't even keep me from talking. So you're not going to be able to control the guy with wings.
Here he comes to put in his 2 cents. But I actually made a list of things as you were talking, as everyone was talking about how to make the dealership experience a little bit nicer so that we aren't comparing it to the doctor's office, to the dentist office, to the gyno, or, so that we're not as a industry ranking below senators for being trusted and respected. So I'm going to run through my little checklist here. I put it in order, I think, of a way to make a little bit more sense. So I'm going to run through it, and then I would love any feedback on it. So one, the whole overarching thing, as you all know, I like to give it a theme and tie everything back together. So we're going to go with be human. We're going to have kindness. We're going to give a damn about the people around you, both your employees and your customers. We're going to give respect to our customers and to our teammates. We're going to provide education for both the staff and for clients. We're going to set a plan. We're going to set a process. We're going to get buy-in and then have accountability to those processes and make sure that they align with the plan. Those actions are going to set a culture. The attitudes that we bring to work every day are going to help to build that culture. And then we're going to build relationships both with our teammates and with our clients. We're going to meet our shoppers where they are. So if they're starting online and they've completed part of the process, don't make them redo that process. And we're going to work on taking our customers and thinking of our people that are coming into the stores as customers and move them to a client experience. And we're going to do that by making it feel welcome and reducing the friction in the entire buying process and the friction between employees and the friction between departments. So again, we're going to come back to making everyone feel like a human, being a human, and giving a damn about each other.
I love it.
Nice thorough list. As far as feedback, I think you nailed it, Kel. I think if we have a process, if we follow it, and if our overriding concern is to smile and make people feel welcome, we're great. Hey, only because we're nearing close to the end, we haven't heard from my good buddy Fred, and we haven't heard from my buddy from Brazil, Willen. Fred, you want to go first? Willen, do you want to go first? Whoever unmutes, go, and then let the other guy go. We'd love to hear what you're thinking.
Aye, aye, aye. You know me, Larry, I don't know much about this kind of stuff. Just what Wendy tells me.
Fred, I
I
don't know
can't
anything,
say.
but they gave me my own show. It's America.
There you go. Well, shoot. In that case, no, like Wendy and Kelly was talking. I mean, like customers come in. I mean, you gotta have a great attitude being a salesman. You know, put a smile on your face and be friendly to them. I mean, me being a buyer coming in, I'm looking at a car or something. I don't want to hear, "Hello, friends. How are you?" I mean, I just want to, not like a preacher, you know. Even though I'm religious, I don't know that kind of preacher though. Russell knows what
Hey,
I'm talking
Fred,
about.
Fred,
Yes.
this is, don't get excited. This is not a dirty story. Do you know how I met your wife? I'm at a soda con and I'm sitting next to her and I recognized her and we started a conversation, and within 30 seconds we had a mutual admiration society because she was as friendly and upbeat as she could be, and I was as friendly and upbeat, I would like to believe, as I could be. Took 30 seconds and we were best buddies. This is not a long, arduous process. You know, maybe not everybody wants to shake hands over COVID, but we can still smile. We can still have an open body tone. It's so simple. Why
And
would
they,
you want to be grumpy and put out negative vibes? Go ahead, Fred. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, they can see it too. They can see it in your eyes, in your speech. Just be nice, be honest.
Exactly.
Willem, from live from Brazil. Willem, you always have some beautiful insights. What do you say, my buddy?
Hello, good evening.
Hey, William.
Well, and I have two words for this topic: is experience and continuity, and make the transition from online to offline natural. And here in Brazil, we have some actions according to the brand, and using physical space for off-road trails, special deliveries, and networking space. Every Saturday we have clients here in the stores for talking, for make the coffee, and this is we encourage this experience and continue it. For every Saturday, we together and we make this space from the home for our heads. It is.
Neat. It's kind of like an
Thank
open house community event, that kind of thing. Willem,
Hello?
is it kind of like an open house community thing as opposed to, I'm coming to buy a car?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's a great
Yes.
idea.
Every Saturday morning at
Yes.
JLR store that I ran for quite some time, the first 3 hours of the Saturday was a customer appreciation. There was no sales. It was bringing the customers in, giving them a complete detail on their cars, making sure that their cars were spick and span for the weekend, making sure everything was looked after, just being absolute 100% customer appreciative to them. Breakfast, coffees, donuts, bagels, you name it, was there. And we sold more cars through that experience than anything else. And they didn't buy during that time. They made appointments for afterwards. But that's again back to the people and then the landscape. And that's the important part. We have to understand we're in the people business. Everything we talked about tonight is about the people. It is not about the car. It's not about this. It's not about that. It's about the people. So we all appreciate each other so tremendously. So let's amplify that through technology,
Right on.
through everything that we can do. Go ahead, everyone. Just had to jump in.
Oh, that's
Did
neat.
we,
Well,
is there anybody that would like to add anything? Because obviously we've gotten some pretty interesting thought-provoking ideas. Does anybody want to expand on what they've already said? Anybody at all? Because we'd love to hear it if you'd like to.
Peter, you say it perfect every time. I mean, people, process, technology in that order. And I think if we follow a framework or a mindset of that, we'll be fine. But until we do,
Yeah.
uh-uh.
The problem
So-
is the thinking.
So one thing on that mindset, the people process technology mindset, it's a fluid wave pool. You go from one end to the other and back to the other, and you keep moving, and the velocity keeps increasing and getting growing as you do. And that's why it becomes so important that you focus on those 3 vantage points. It's massively important.
So, I heard a lot of great stuff in here today, and I got to tell you, I've been in this business 39 years, and it's the same crap today that I'm hearing 39 years ago. Now, Brian talked about it. There is a paradigm shift taking place. There's change taking place, starting at the top and whittling its way down. But in the overall scheme of things, okay, I have to be really careful who I spend time with, because so many people just want to waste my time. And I'm busy. All of us are busy, which is why I'm in rooms like these. But what a mentor many years ago, here's what he said, okay, because I wanted to make some changes in my life. And unfortunately, 95% of the population gets their information from the same 95% of the population that has what they have or less than what they have, and they wonder why the hell they don't have anymore, okay? So they need to make some pretty significant changes. And what I mean by that, here's what my mentor said to me: Russell, are you willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do, so you can have and become the things that most people will never have and never become? What are you willing to do? Most people aren't willing to make those kind of changes. Oh, they'll give you lip service, but they're not willing to make those changes. And I shared something with Wendy today I just want to end with, okay? Real quick here. I'm reading this for about 3rd time, Napoleon Hill. So
Great
anyway,
book.
yeah. 7 major positive emotions: the emotion of desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, and hope. Those are positive emotions. The 7 negatives: fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, and anger. Positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the mind at the same time. Okay, we have to make conscious choices of what we want to do. This is a hard drive, and it's corrupted with all the malware and software that we allow in there to change that. It's nobody's fault. It's our fault. Can we make a difference one person at a time, one community at a time? Absolutely. And I certainly see that going on. But it's amazing how 85% of the population are higher. They're still talking about the same stuff 39 years ago that I was involved in those same circle jerks, and how screwed up the dealership is. And I
Hey,
made
Wendy.
changes on it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Russell. I apologize, because Wendy had her hand raised. So
Oh,
when you're
I'm
done,
sorry.
Russ, but
I'm done.
Ben,
Just want to corroborate what you guys have already said, and that's why we're all tribe, because we all think the same way with the same heart and the same head. It's all about mindset. It's all about, we talk about the mindset for the customer experience. What about the mindset for the dealership culture? What about the BDC mindset, who we sell appointments, not cars, versus the salesperson mindset that says, I don't want to spend all day with a subprime customer. Give me a warm body with an 800 credit score that's sitting at my desk. To the manager who's listening to the general manager who's listening to the DP perspective. When you change the way you think, you look at things, the things you look at change. So start to consider one another's perspectives, one another's mindsets, so we understand each other's motivations and the actions that result from our motivation.
That's right.
And that's what's going to make the culture right, which is going to bleed into your customers. It will bleed onto your customers, because it's who you are. And it's not that you're just walking the walk. You're walking your walk. You're walking your truth and your heart and your belief. And that's where we have to start.
Wendy, it's the oldest sales motivation story in history, and it's true. They send 2 shoe salesmen to the most remote part of Africa. and one sends back a telegram, why the hell would you send me here?
That's right.
Nobody's wearing shoes. And the other guy says, thanks for sending me here. Everybody here needs shoes. It's all your perspective. If you get up in the morning and you can't wait to get to work and you're excited and everybody meets the potential, it goes. It's 8:02. You know, I got to tell you folks, every week you folks just make this show better and better. We appreciate you. We respect you. It does our hearts so much good. When we hear people say, you know, Darren said it, people say, gosh, this Wednesday sets their whole day apart. And, you know, and I personally, that warms my heart and makes me feel good. Peter, you know, said to me, Larry, they must have no life at all if they're looking forward to our show. But everybody knows Peter knows he's a little on the sarcastic side. Thank God it's like, I'm like Opie from the Andy Griffith Show, you know, the warm heart.
You're the sane one of us, right, Larry?
You know, sanity is a very specious concept. Okay. Who is truly sane and who truly isn't? And Russell will agree with me. It's better to be mentally ill starting out than to let him make you mentally ill. At least it's a pre-existing condition that I embrace. Guys, we love you. We
just one last thing.
Yeah, please, Peter.
Before we sign off here. First of all, next week is the NADA preview show that we're going to have to talk about NADA and what we're going to do there.
All right.
We will be broadcasting live on Friday at 1 p.m. from the ICOM booth. And
that's with Scott Trainer. Everybody loves
Scott Trainer. Yes, Scott and Jared Jared and Ariana's there, and a whole bunch of people that we all know. The next day we will be broadcasting from the iPacket booth at 1 p.m. and that's with Renee Sejas, and he's invited us to that as well. So we'll be everywhere.
And one other thing, Peter, I was invited to be with Brooke Furnace. She's got a show going on Saturday.
Yep.
So we are going to start a fund for emotional support to give to Brooke, because after I'm done with her, she'll probably need some help, and you know, maybe we get her a support puppy or something like that.
Yeah. What's the booth number for ICOM?
ICOM 6510, is that right, Rhonda?
I'm not sure, but Russell, I promise you, we'll get it to you. We'll get it to you.
We've got posts scheduled for that.
Yeah. We'll get it all to you. You have no idea how much Peter and I and Rhonda appreciate you, how much we love having you around, and we're going to have a ball.
Go ahead, Kelly.
Sorry. Go ahead, Kelly.
I dropped my email and my cell in the chat. Peter, I was tasked with trying to get everybody together as far as the vendors. Thanks to Peter and his group that he has started with the Automotive Partners Association. And so if you're going to be at NADA, definitely shoot me an email or drop me a text message. Just let me know who you are. And as we start to get everybody to trickle in, I look forward to getting everybody together somehow, somewhere, even if we just have to point to a pillar and say, everybody meet here so we can officially shake hands and meet in real life, and maybe get a drink if we have time.
Listen to me. Let's meld the two together. At 1 o'clock on Friday, let's go to the ICOM AI booth. You'll meet Scott Trainer. We'll pop you in. It'll be Lethal Sales on site, and then we can adjourn to a room or restaurant and talk and meet. That would be great. Listen,
I'll definitely be tied to my booth with my new employer, as I wound up announcing last week on LinkedIn. But I look forward
who's your new employer, Kelly?
Oh, you didn't see the video?
No.
Russell, you even commented on it.
I did.
Yeah,
wait a minute.
I joined Turnkey.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on. Hey, at 7:30, it's my bedtime, so I get a little lethargic.
All good.
And I'm not being facetious. It's my bedtime.
You're fine.
Okay.
Yep, I joined over at Turnkey Marketing, so I'll be at their booth for NADA in the West Hall.
I remember.
But I do look forward to seeing everyone.
Russell, since there's apparently a lack of memory, and I am in Florida, if I clean it up, Rhonda, should I tell these guys a good Florida dirty joke that won't be dirty?
You're taking a chance.
I'm good at editing myself. Russell, this cop sees a guy on a bench and he's crying his eyes out. And the cop comes over and he says, "Mister, are you okay?" He says, "My wife passed." He says, "Gosh, I'm so sorry." He says, "No, that's not the problem." He says, "It's not." He says, "No, she left me $3 million. I got lonely. I put an ad in the paper for a companion. This young girl came to the house. She's gorgeous. Look, I don't know if it's me or the money, but she says she loves me. And every day she feeds me and we make love." Cop goes, "What's your problem?" He goes, "I forget where I live." Russell, if you'll call me later, I can make that joke much dirtier. It'll be so dirty.
I'm sure you can.
Okay, our Friday show is at ICOM 6150 North.
Cool.
But
Guys,
we'll be running post stuff.
let's nail down our plans next week. Let's accommodate Kelly. Let me embrace and hug my boy Russell Hill, and let's just hang and have all the fun we can possibly have, and just keep punching.
Right on.
Everybody on this show is a positive person. Man, the world needs us more than ever because there are so many negative people. I'll leave you with this. I say it in every class. If you can't elevate somebody, walk away from them before they drag you down.
Right on, brother.
Okay.
Stay healthy. We'll see you all next week. And thank you so much for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Bye bye.